just before Karl starts, I'm going to introduce Karl, who's a very, very good friend of mine, who is taking time out of his very busy schedule to speak to you guys. I've known Karl for over 30 years, and we talk about lots of different things. And as I said to you guys in my message, he is heavily involved in sports. He is an entrepreneur, and he also spends some time speaking on the circuit to professional athletes at college level. So he's just going to speak to you guys for about 5 or 10 minutes about a range of things. And if at the end of it we have a bit of time, we might do a Q&A, but that depends on Karl. So I'm just going to hand over to Karl. So please listen to him very carefully, because this will be an interesting 10 minutes for you. I'll hand over to you, Karl.
Awesome. Thanks, Adele. Just at any point, Adele, if you can't hear me, just let me know and I'll speak louder. I appreciate Adele allowing me to come and talk to you. I love talking to kids, especially about sport and the combination of things. A little background about myself, like Adele had mentioned, you know, I have been lucky to where I got to go over and live in England for a while. But now I actually am involved with basketball floors. You know how familiar everybody is, but like give you an example, the company I work for, we did the basketball floor for the O2 Arena in London. So we're kind of on a global scale like that, but it's still in the sporting industry. I appreciate everyone making time. The thing I'd like to say right away is congratulations to all of you for actually doing this sort of thing, because all the studies show people that are proactive, you know, are very small. You're probably in the top 5% of the people right now in the world that are actually not sitting on their hands complaining, who are actually proactive in the sense that they're going to try to make something happen, be it in sport, business, socially. So congratulations on that for actually being here. And I'll try to make the presentation worth your while. I know your time is valuable as well. As far as, so you don't think I'm just an old guy that knows it, Coach Carduni, I also have a 14-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old son. So I'm familiar with the age group that you all are. And so some of the stuff that I'll say, you know, won't make any sense to you, or you'll say you don't know what you're talking about. A few of the things, hopefully there'll be some nuggets in there that you'll find entertaining and or informative that you can use in the future. The main thing, one other point, you'll probably be exposed to a lot of speakers over the course of your life. And one of the main things I think that's important when you listen to a speaker is you listen as a student, not as a follower. So be really critical of everything I say and bring it back and think about it in the future by yourself. Think, did that make sense or didn't that make sense? It's always very important. The big thing that we're really going to talk about is the opportunity or the problem, however you want to say it. It's the same side of the different coin of the lockdown that's going on around the world. Everyone that I'm speaking with all over the world, we all have the same situation. We're in the lockdown of 3 weeks, 5 weeks. And the question is, how do you maximize that? What do you do? So in the sports world, often what we try to do, right, is we think about a certain thing gets brought to you. And let's think from a team standpoint. And you have to think, well, let's say the other team is very large. They're very big brawny team. Doesn't really matter what sport they are. They're very physical. So you have to spin the thing around and think, well, what are our attributes? What can we do with this? Well, we can be faster. We can increase our spacing. What things can we do? And the same thing if we were little and we'd say, well, what do we want to do? We want to play in space. We want to pick up tempo. So with the same thing, when you look at the lockdown, I think you have to think about it as spin it around, like every problem, spin it around. When you come up to a problem, look at it from a different angle. And with the lockdown, you think, well, how about if we looked at it like this? Instead of saying a lockdown, how about if we said, let's look at this like a performance camp, like a personal performance camp, be it athletics or business, and you were just focused on, my daughter just went to language camp. So the thing is that if you said, I'm going to send you to a camp, and at this camp, they're going to serve you food that you like, probably every other day, you're going to get one of your favorite meals. You're going to get as much rest as you want. You're going to be able to train as hard as you want. And you're going to be able to be exposed to the best mentors, the best coaches, 24/7. They're going to be there at your beck and call. Well, if you thought you were going to that kind of sports camp or performance camp, you'd be like overjoyed. Well, really, that's where you are right now. You're in that place. You're on the internet, so obviously you can get to YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So there's really nothing you can't learn if you want to learn it in the next 3 to 5 weeks. Ultimately, anything. You can learn about being how to spin the rugby ball better. You can learn about being an American football player. You can learn anything you want, languages. That's what you have at your services. You obviously have your accommodations and your food, and you have your physicality that I know that coaches talk to you about that you can do in your space. So look at it like that. Like that's where we're at. All right. This is where we're at. You get 3 weeks to focus on yourself. And the other thing about focusing on yourself is the opportunity to think. You're not getting distracted by everything outside right now. You can sit down and think. So if we went to this camp and we brought you into this metaphoric camp, the first thing they would do to you, if it was a sports camp for American football, the first thing they would probably say is, how fast is your 40, right? And they would look at a few items and they would say your 40 time, maybe your bench press and your vertical jump, or maybe a shuttle run. And they'd say, where are you at? And then those would be the things you'd focus on what you want to develop, right? And that would be the measure, was the camp good or not? Did you take advantage of the camp or didn't you take advantage of the camp? My point now would be, we should do the same thing. And I'm doing the same thing, just so you know. It's not just you, like I'm preaching it. I have my own stuff written down as well. But really you'd want to think, what's the end game? In the next 3 weeks, what would be the end game? And I would say to you that you should probably just keep it simple and look at like 3 things. One, what's the end game of my relationships, my family, my faith? What could I look at right there to make better? In the next 3 weeks, what could I do? Could I be a better brother? Could I be a better son? Could I don't know if I have any gals on it, but you know, what could you do to your relationships? Could you reach out to your friends more? What could you do to really become better at that? Another area would be sport, right? Which you are all involved in. What could I do to be better at the sport itself? Physically, is there a technique I could learn? What could I do to really advance myself to where I am now, to where I'm going to be? And then lastly, what is something academically or creatively that you've got 3 weeks now? You want to try to start learning how to play the guitar? What do you want to do for you to make you feel better? Because you're learning, and when you're learning, we're all like that. The more we learn, the better we feel. So those are the 3 areas that I would focus on in the next 3 weeks. Just say something, family and faith, that's a simple way of saying it. Relationships, something in the sports world that affects you, that will help you help the team. And then something for your own personal development. So now we're going to switch over. Okay, these are the 3 things that I'm going to do. And then you think, well, what can I do? Well, it's all we've all heard it, right? It's you got to set goals. And so how do you go about setting the goals, right? What's the easiest way? And I'm just going to give you a very simple way of doing it. And I know there's SMART goals, and you've heard of all the different ways. But the way that I'm going to talk about is simply saying, you just write out, start out with the word I, then put a verb, meaning like for me, I say I, and then run, and then a time, 15 minutes every day. So I start out with I, you might say I, tell my parents I love them every day for the next 3 weeks. Or anything along that line. Same thing with sport. I do 15 push-ups every day for the next 3 weeks. Something that has to be measurable, it has to be personal, it has to be an action, you have something you have to do, it has to be measurable, because your brain, they call it as teleological, right? You think numbers really hard, everyone does. That's why math is such a big deal, because we all think like that. So make sure you put down, you do it, I, accepting it as yourself, the verb, what you're going to do, and then what do you want? What's the outcome? And then how many times you actually can think about it. Did I do it? Because what they say in the business world, and in the sporting world too at the high levels, is anything that gets measured gets managed. Meaning, if you can look at something and say, I did that or I didn't do that. You think about it, you go, I'm going to go work out today. I talked to my son about that. I'm going to go work out. And he says, I said, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to do some bench. Well, what are you going to do on a bench? Well, I'm going to do 185 pounds. Well, how many times are you going to do it? How many sets are you going to do? The more you can drill down with details in all of your things, but especially in your sports things, is where you'll get massive growth. So make sure that you think about this opportunity as this next couple, 3 weeks as it's an opportunity, personal development camp for you personally to change from where you were to where you're going to go. And then look at your 3 things, your simple, family and faith, sports, and then something personal for you for personal growth. And now I'm just going to leave you with this at the end that you might think, well, what do I care? Doesn't really matter. Goals don't apply. I would say this, that at 15 years of age, this is the most crucial time for you, all of you, and Coach Carduni knows this, I think this all the time, most crucial time in maybe in your lives. Because at 15 years old, you are beginning to decide what you like. And so you're starting to figure out what you may want out of your journey here. And setting goals, determining this is what I want, and determining when you want it, what you want. That's really the key. And you have to work hard every day. You set the goal, it doesn't happen. It's hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work. Press, press, press. Evaluate. Did I get closer? Am I getting closer? Is it getting farther away? Work, work, work. Go back. Look at your goals. Look at your goals. Look at your goals. There's a really smart guy who's in the sporting world here who told me one time that either you set your own goal or you have your own plan, or people will have a plan for you. And you know what they have planned for you? Not much. It's extremely important. You plan out your future. You plan out what you want and understand if you think of something, it's possible for you. There's no doubt. I'm pretty certain that Coach Carduni at 15 years old did not think he would rise up to the level. He might have in his gut thought, I think I want to do that, but he probably didn't say, I know I can. He probably just said, I would like to, I want to, it's in my heart, and I'm just going to work, and I'm never quitting, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep going, and all of a sudden one day he's there. Everything you want is the same, and the path is the same way. Decide what you want, set your goals in the big picture, and then drive to it. So I know it's quite a bit there, but today, in the next 15 days, practice a little goal setting. It's like everything else. Then when you're done with these next 3 weeks, then sit back another time and start planning out what you really want. Because in 5 years, you'll be somewhere. And you'll either be where you want to be, or you'll be where someone else wants you to be. And you want to be where you want to be. All right? Hope I didn't waste your time. Hope you got a little thoughts out of that. And is that to the point, Mr. Carduni?
Fantastic, Karl. Let me just unmute everybody. No, fantastic. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Stick your thumbs up. Everybody stick your thumbs up. I hope you could. Can you hear me?
I appreciate everyone giving me your time. Yeah.
Karl, do you need to go? Because I'm conscious that you have time. Right. Okay. Well, let's see if anybody's got any questions. We'll maybe fire a couple of questions at you. Anybody got any questions? If you've got a question, stick your thumbs up so I can unmute you. I've got a question. Oh, no. Pharrell, hang on. There we go. Let me find you. Pharrell. Say something, Pharrell.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Say your goal is something that's not, you can't exactly measure it. For example, if you wanted to, if you want to get faster, how would you make that more achievable? How would you like set it out to do something like that?
Excellent question. Generally, yeah, when you get a big goal, then you kind of got to work in reverse. So you say, okay, I want to get faster. Then first off, you got to figure out what that faster is. So let's just say it's your 40-yard dash, you know, straight 40, right? Or 40-meter dash. So the first thing I would do coaching you is I would say, let's time you. Let's see what you're at now. And let's say in the 40 meters, let's say you're a 5, like say, we'll say you're fast and you're 4.8 seconds into 40 meters. And we'll say, okay, that's your number now. So we get a baseline. That's where you're at right now. And then the next thing we'd say is, well, we're at a 4.8. We want to try to get it down to a 4.5, right? So that's what we're shooting for. So then what are the incremental steps, step by step, that we could get to a 4.5? And I like speed, right? I mean, we all love speed in sport. So I would say this, you know, the first thing we should do is look at your get off in your coming out of the blocks. We could probably get a tenth of a second coming out of the blocks. So we'd really work on focusing on your getting into the blocks and really firing that first hand up and break it down like that. And then also break down your stride. So when you're sprinting, are your hands going real high or not? Because that increases your cycle. And from there, those two things, then we could break down your forward lean and work on those incremental things, break down the goal, and then look at, say, I would think for that kind of behavior, we'd probably have to say about every 2 weeks and take a look at it and time you again. And then film you and say, okay, and then show you the film so you can see, so you can break it down. So when you have a big goal, I guess long story short is when you have a big goal, you want to work backwards from that goal and break it down with the techniques that allow you to do that. And then have a target of where you're going. And of course, if it's not working right, then change it. You know, okay, so the speed stuff you're doing is not right. If I was you, I would go online and I would look at strength and speed on YouTube right now. And I would look for things that you can do to increase your 40 time. And you're going to see high hands. You're going to see forward lean. You're going to see dropping, you know, getting in a better, coming off lower, staying lower, keeping your body relaxed. Those are the things, but it's all the same and all that information's out there, but that's exactly what you do is just take it and break it down in reverse and then reverse it out and then make a bunch of little steps, little goals, right? And that's what the coach will have you do too, is they'll have you run and they'll do all those little incremental things, but then you need to keep testing. Am I getting better? Am I not getting better? Maybe I should involve bringing in, if you get to a roadblock, then you say, well, you know what? I need to do more squats. I need to get more flexible. If I can inflect, a big thing about sprinting is your ankle flexion. If you can have more flexion in your ankles, you're going to be able to have a little bit longer stride, going to get you a little more, cover a little more ground, cover a little bit more ground, and be just that little bit faster. So that's what I would do. I would look it up. I would look at what they're saying. I would look at what the best speed coaches are doing. And then I would start implementing that while testing yourself on your 40 time. And, you know, that's kind of how I'd go about it. And then I would just say, you can get faster. It's a myth to say people can't get faster. That's completely untrue. Every great sprint coach in the world would be out of a job, right? You can get faster. I'll guarantee you can get faster in 2 weeks. We could have to get faster. But that's how I would go about it.
Excellent.
Thanks for the question, man.
Unfortunately, Alex, you've put your hand up, so I'm going to come to you because you're going to be the last person to ask a question, because otherwise we'll never hear the end of it. Go on, ask your question.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Personally, I'm not sure if it's more of a personal question or based on sort of everybody, but how would you sort of mentally prepare before a game so
for what?
You can be consistent sort of throughout the game for like rugby,
right?
And all sort of games.
What?
How
Sorry,
would you mentally prepare for
Alex,
that sort of game?
Alex is asking how would you suggest they mentally prepare themselves? Because Some people find it easy, some people find it difficult.
In this environment?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think, sorry, Carl, I think what he's meaning is, say not particularly this environment, but when the season hopefully starts, you know, preparing yourself for a big game, the mental approach to going to that game the night before, the week before.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that it's all proven, all the data's out there, all the psychological studies are out there as far as simulation, right? Like if you kick a ball, if you're a soccer player, a football player for you guys, and you kick a ball into the net from an angle, physically kick the ball into the net, and there's a net there, and you kick the ball. Or if you mentally close your eyes and put yourself through the simulation of kicking the ball without doing anything, the same neurons in your brain will fire, right? The same stuff will happen in your head as if you physically kicked it. The same parts of your brain will activate everything. So what they've come down to believe is that it doesn't matter if you do it or if you think about it. And that's what they did with the astronauts as well. That's what they came up with that stuff. So my point to you is the best way to simulate the performance is in your mind. So what you want to do, and you watch Rory, the golfer, right? Or you watch Tiger Woods, or you watch anybody that's a good golfer, what they do is they walk up before the shot. They walk up, they look at the ball, they look at the green, they look back at the ball, they settle down, and then in their mind, they see themselves hitting the perfect golf shot and the ball landing on the green. That every time. And if you watch the great skiers, that's what they're going to do. They stand at the top of the hill, the downhillers, and they go like this. They're running the whole thing in their mind because they never fall in their mind. And so when you're getting ready for a game and you want to prep for a game, you want to actually, the sports psychologist will tell you, you want to relax as much as you can, and then you want to visualize yourself trying to and use as many of your senses as you can mentally. So you close your eyes and you think, you see yourself with the ball in your hand, or whatever technique you want. I see myself with the ball in my hand. You have the same color jerseys on. You know the color jerseys you're playing against. You see yourself scoring the touch, running through, breaking through. And that's the way to prepare. And you continually layer that into your mind again and again and again and again and again. And you get so confident that it adds to your practice. It's like in the NFL, when a guy gets hurt, they don't allow him just to stand on the boundary. He has to actually be in the mental side of the game and watch film. So preparation, right? Preparation is the key. Watch film, do all the things you have to do to feel confident about your physical skill set. And then mentally, that's really, that separates, right? All the top athletes, if you look like in the Olympics, I mean, in the Olympics, when you run in the Olympics, any event, you're probably getting separated by anywhere from a second to maybe a tenth of a second as who's the best and who's the second best and who's the third best. So it's not about physically who's the best, it's mentally who's the best. That's what wins, what's between your ears. That's the champion. That's what makes the person who wins all the time that winner all the time. So I would do everything that Coach Cardini's doing. I would stay in the game, stay relaxed, stay in the game. Don't go, oh, we're going to kick them, crush them. Well, that actually doesn't work. What works is stay in the game, have a lot of fun. Don't look around here. It's all about staying in the game, stay in the moment, stay relaxed, do what comes natural, and then layer it before the game starts as to see yourself being the person that executes what you want to do. Because then that'll help you very much take away any anxiety, anything. When that shot comes up there, you watch, like, I'll just say Messier, and I'm probably being an idiot saying it, but the reality of it is when that dude walks up to kick the ball, he sees it in the goal before he puts his foot on it. Now, he's had success to do that, but before he did that, he saw that many times in his mind. Michael Jordan saw him shooting himself making the shot. You have to think like a winner and practice it, and then you'll be comfortable.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank
Well
you,
done,
Carl.
Alex. Well
Thank
done.
you.
I'm going to say goodbye to Carl on behalf of everybody else, and I will speak to you a little bit later, Carl. I've recorded as per your request, and I will send that recording to you. So thanks
Awesome.
very much.
I
Thank you,
appreciate it, Carl, and thanks for everybody for their time, man. you ever come to the
Thank you.
States, look me up.
Okay, cool. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.